New numbers from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show a 24% increase in U.S. coronavirus-related deaths within the last week. Despite this, President Trump is praising his administration's pandemic response. Skyler Henry has the latest from the White House.
Well, thank you very much.
President Trump met with Arizona Governor Doug Ducey at the White House.
He has done an incredible job on COVID-19.
We're going to keep our guard up. We're going to stay vigilant, but there's a real path forward.
During an interview with Fox and Friends, the president once again downplayed the severity of the pandemic and pushed for schools to reopen.
It will go away like things go away, and my view is that schools should be open. If you look at children are almost, and I would almost say definitely, but almost immune from this disease.
Tens of thousands of children in the U.S. have tested positive for the coronavirus, and the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, has said children are not immune.
Negotiations continue between the administration and Democrats on coronavirus relief legislation. The Senate now plans to delay its scheduled recess next week in hopes a bill will be ready by then.
While Americans are struggling, the Democratic leaders have moved about 1 inch in 8 days.
We cannot agree to an inadequate bill and then go home while the virus continues to spread, the economy continues to deteriorate, and the country gets worse.
In addition to disagreements over the amount of enhanced unemployment benefits, both sides are at odds over the Democrats' demand for more state and local funding. President Trump has called state and local funding proposals a bailout.
And Skyler Henry joins me now from the White House. Skyler, what exactly continues to divide lawmakers, and how much closer are they to an agreement now?
Well, hey, Lana, good evening to you. Well, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said earlier today that she sees light at the end of the tunnel in terms of these negotiations. The question remains, though, are we talking about a few feet or are we talking about miles here in terms of them getting closer to a deal here? But still, though, lawmakers say that there's still work that needs to be done. We did hear from Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows as well, who've both said that they kind of have a timeline as to when they want something done, that probably toward the end of the week, so that Congress can actually vote on this next week, and then something can be done probably by the end of the week. We saw in the piece that the Senate as well as the House both are saying that they are going to prevent or delay their recess that was scheduled for next week until this deal is actually done there. And so both sides, I think, have said up until this point, they want to just make sure that a deal gets done so that they can help those tens of millions of Americans who, one, haven't received those unemployment benefits that expired at the end of last week, and two, want to make sure that they can at least stave off the need for so much help up until the next round of negotiations, whenever that may be.
Well, and Skyler, it's been almost a week since the previous relief bill expired. Some 30 million Americans have lost their extended unemployment benefits, and eviction protections have run out. You do mention that there's progress being made, but do you actually get the sense that lawmakers understand the urgency of the situation now?
Well, not only the urgency of it, Lana, I think the severity, too. We've heard from lawmakers on both sides who have said that there needs to be something done to help these tens of millions of Americans who are suffering right now. That's particularly why you see so many Democrats standing on their point of why they think this $600 enhanced unemployment benefits needs to remain. We've seen Republicans counter that and say that they want to at least slash those numbers. We did hear from some of the people who had knowledge of the conversations between the two sides that Republicans were willing to up that number to about $400 in unemployment benefits. But still, though, Democrats are standing firm. They said that these $600 is barely enough to even help out the people who need it the most. And so they definitely understand, I think, the severity of this. We've heard House Speaker Nancy Pelosi speak to this countless times, as well as Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. But now it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. And that is why there is this pressure, so to speak, to kind of stick to this timeline, right? To get this deal done by the end of the week so that this can actually move forward and then eventually to the president as well. But then you also have comments from the president as well, who said that he is feeling that pressure from Americans as well. And so he may actually want to step in with some sort of executive action to not only help in terms of unemployment extensions, but also try to help out in terms of extending those eviction moratoriums as well, particularly in the federal area.
All right, Skyler, let's switch gears for a moment. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer met Wednesday with the Postmaster General to discuss problems with the United States Postal Service. What issues would they like to see addressed amid concerns with mail-in voting ahead of the November election?
Well, the big thing is delays, right? There are concerns from both sides of the aisle that what is coming, what is looming, I should say, in terms of these November elections is that we could see a significant delay as so many Americans consider using mail-in ballots as opposed to actually going to election sites because of the coronavirus pandemic. And so I think this actually plays into that narrative that the president has had all along here in terms of saying that he actually questions not only the legitimacy of mail-in voting, but also just the timeliness of it. He just wrapped up a press briefing not too long ago in which he referenced that he felt as though it would be unacceptable, particularly in a state like Nevada, which has actually announced that they are going to send out universal ballot or a universal number of ballots so that everybody has a ballot. He said that that is unacceptable to wait up to a week, if not longer, for election results. He's somebody who wants these results that night. And so that is really what we're starting to see here. This actually is a topic that came up in these negotiations. Democrats initially said that they wanted $25 billion to be attributed to the USPS so that they can actually have what they need. But they did compromise to say that they're going to go somewhere around $10 billion in order to make this process happen. Still a lot of work that needs to be done. The Postmaster General was in those meetings today. He did not speak with reporters in terms of what exactly they talked about, but we do know that this is something that is on the minds of both the GOP and Democrats.
All right, Skyler Henry at the White House, thank you for joining us.
All right, Lana, thanks.